go ahead and actually begin the recording so that that statement is true. And last but not least, we do have a prize giveaway at the end for those of you who have registered and stay with us through the end. We're going to be spinning a wheel of names to give away a $100 gift certificate to at least one lucky winner. So I hope you can all stay with us. And we've still got a few people joining us, but I do want to get started. So I'm going to begin by just pulling up a poll question here. And that is, if I could ask you really quickly, what do you when you think about your vacations, what are your top considerations? And so, if you could use the checkbox or the poll that should be on your screen right now, you can select up to 3, and I'd be interested to just kind of get a feel for what is it that you're looking for when you're looking for help with vacations. We'll let this run for about another 10 seconds. Okay.
Sorry, I was WhatsApping you while I was starting a Zoom call. It's like I haven't even started working at 7 p.m.
Okay. Wrapping this up now, so appreciate everyone who has registered.
Setting up this thing, it's going to be a franchise, but the first one's going to be, I think, probably not far from you.
And looks like the vast majority of you are interested in where to go, which is perfect because today I think Bonnie is going to be able to give us a great deal of help with that.
Almost like a cafe,
Sounds like we've got someone who needs to mute, so I'm going to
just play with your kids and have a ball with your kids.
Ask you all to check your mutes.
You get wine, you get food, you know, there might be like 3 yummy mummies with babies.
All right, bear with me while I try and find out how to mute everyone here.
My baby friendly, but still very adult like. So it's the decor is very adult, classy look.
Okay. So now, Bonnie, if you would be kind enough to unmute yourself. All right. So without further ado, Bonnie, it's all yours.
Great. I just want to make sure that I can change these slides.
Actually, they're presenting off from mine, so if you just let me know, I will advance for you.
Perfect. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon if we have some people in different time zones. I wanted to wish you a very warm Céad Mille Páirce, which in Irish Gaelic translates into 100,000 welcomes. You're looking at some scenery right now of some of our destinations in Ireland and in Scotland. We'll switch over to our next slide. Here we go. So I'm so happy to be able to join you today and talk to you about CIE Tours. Some of you may know about our company. My guess is some of you don't. So let me just tell you a little bit about us, some background so that you're really feeling comfortable about considering doing a vacation with us for this year or for next year. CIE Tours actually is a tour operator that specializes in a very few destinations in Northern Europe, specifically Ireland and Britain. That's been our core product for many, many years. We've been around, as you can see from the slide, since 1932, but what you probably don't know is that we are owned by the Irish government, which makes us authentically Irish. And we are a branch of the transportation system. The CIE Tours name is Gaelic. I won't bore you with the long Gaelic name right now, but it translates literally into Irish transportation system. So we've had many years to hone our skills on the destinations that we do. We are literally the #1 destination specialist to Ireland and Britain. There is no other tour operator that brings the amount of people into these countries and has the breadth of product that we offer for Ireland and Britain. Some key things to note about our company that makes us different from other competition that does go to these same areas is the fact that we have all local guides and local drivers. So when you're on a CIE tour in Scotland, your driver and guide will be Scottish. They will have grown up. They will have been educated in that area. They have a real passion for their country. And it's a really thrilling experience for them to have our guests on board so that they can tell you all about their country. It's important to have local guides. You don't want to have a guide that comes from a different country coming in and giving you a tour because you just don't have the depth of information that you could get when you have local guides and local drivers. And then the other thing that's really wonderful about us is that we have our all-in advantage. You'll see that on the left-hand side. What that means is that everything's included in your tour. With CIE, when you come on board one of our motor coach tours, all you have to do is just sit back and relax. You paid ahead of time for your tour, which includes all of your sightseeing. It includes your hotels, 2 meals a day, of course, all the taxes and the tips, everything's included for you. So you'll never have to pay any optional sightseeing tour fees. If you're on another guided vacation company, they do sell optional sightseeing. It is not included. Some of the really great sites that you want to visit, some of the really interesting places you want to go see, some of the special dinners that you want to attend, they're all extra fees. And that's not the case with CIE Tours. So your dollar stretches further, and also it's just hassle-free. You sit back and relax and enjoy your time with us. And as you can see, our satisfaction rate is extremely high. We do surveys from past guests that have been on a CIE tour, and everybody loves them and they come back again and again on our products. So we'll move ahead. And by the way, that actually is one of our guides, that cheery looking man that you see there. He is one of our guides in Ireland. So these are our legacy destinations. This is what we started with. And then if we tap the slide again, we'll see that we added in 2 new destinations a couple of years ago. It's been about 3 years ago now. We added in Iceland and we added in Italy. And there we go. So you've got a number of different places you can visit with us, and our guests do. Sometimes they'll start off with Ireland, that seems to be, or Scotland, that seems to be the way that people start off, but then they love our products so much and all of the inclusions that we have and the wonderful guides that they'll want to go with us to another place like Iceland and Italy. But these are our destinations. This is all we do, and we do it exceptionally well. We do not do South America, we don't do Mexico, we don't do the Caribbean, we're not a cruise line. We are a destination specialist for these areas of the world. So we'll move on to the next slide. I thought I would show you the number of different guided vacations that we have so that you can see that we've got quite a bit. For 2021, we've got 35 tours. We actually used to have more than that. But because of COVID, we've kind of scaled back for this year and gone back to some of our most popular tours. You can see predominantly we have a lot in Ireland because, of course, that is a key destination for us. But we're adding in more and more all the time now to Scotland because everybody wants to go to Scotland. I think it's because of all of the great publicity they get with all those shows and films that are being done in Scotland now. So we've got quite a bit of product for you. And the slide that you're looking at that's a little bit to the left of us is the Guinness Storehouse, which is located right in Dublin. It's been there for hundreds of years. And the Guinness Storehouse is one of the options you'll have to go and visit when you're on a CIE tour. First day, we usually give you vouchers. You can get on the hop-on, hop-off bus and go all around Dublin at your leisure. And then you've got tickets to be able to go into a couple of different attractions, and the Guinness Storehouse is one of them. And it's a lot of fun. Even if you don't drink beer, it's a lot of fun. You get to go in and take the tour of how it all started with Guinness. And by the time you finish up on the top floor, you get a complimentary pint of Guinness, or perhaps a beverage, a different beverage, non-alcoholic beverage of your choice. But the view from the very, very top is stunning. It's a roundabout, all glass, and you can walk all over that area and see different views of Dublin. It's just really, really magnificent. So moving on, we'll take a look at our next slide. But if you come with us to Ireland, you definitely have an option to visit the Guinness Storehouse. So whatever travel type suits you, we can probably accommodate you with that. We have a whole host of guided tours. These are the tours that I've been talking about, where you will have your own guide, your own driver. You'll be on a motor coach with other passengers, going from point to point each day, staying in pre-selected hotels each night. But they are designed for either solo travelers or up to multiple numbers of people. So you can go with friends, you could go with your family. We do have small group departures on these where we cap it at 26 people. And in fact, pretty much all of our tours for 2021 will be capped at 26 passengers just because of the social distancing protocols that are in place. We have extensive itineraries, anywhere from 5 days to 15 days. And as I mentioned, they're hassle-free. You just sit back and relax. If you'd like to travel with a group of your friends or with family, extended family, we do have group vacations and we're happy to accommodate you. Just work with Keith and we'll get you a quote on a group vacation, but it has to be 10 or more people. However, if you'd like to have something very, very special, perhaps a once in a lifetime trip, do consider one of our private driver programs. This is a program where we will customize the itinerary exactly the way you'd like it. And you will have an amazing experience with it. You'll have your own driver with you who operates also as your guide from the start of your trip to the end of your trip. And we'll move on to our next slide and I'll talk a little bit more about another option for you. This is a self-drive program. For those of you who might want to have a very independent type of trip with us, we have our self-drive programs in Ireland. It's in Ireland only. You've got two options. You've got the Traveler's Choice and the Classic itineraries. The Traveler's Choice is for our very adventurous guests. They will have their Hertz rent-a-car, any size that you would like. We will add in B&Bs, maybe some hotels, maybe throw in a castle stay to make it really fabulous at the end. But each day is your day to create as you would like. There are no sightseeing tours in this. You will do the driving, and it is really wonderful for people who want a truly flexible, free and easy type of vacation. This year we added in our classic itineraries. This was in direct response to the COVID situation and people wanting to do more social distancing. If you don't want to be on a motor coach tour, even if it's limited to only 26 people, here's an option for you. This is, again, is in Ireland only. You would be using a Hertz rent-a-car. And now, instead of just having a free and easy day, you would actually be selecting one of our guided vacations itineraries, and you would be mirroring that itinerary. So let's just say that you like the little taste of Ireland. You're going to be doing the same hotels. You'll have the same sightseeing, the same meals at the hotels as the other guests that are on one of our motor coach tours, but instead you're going to be driving to each spot in your car. It's a great concept for people who love the idea of a little bit more structure each day, because everything's taken care of for you as far as hotels and sightseeing and meals, but now you can drive your own vehicle. If you don't like to drive your own vehicle, we can actually provide you with a driver as an option too. So now you've got something new under our Self-Drive Ireland program to consider. Just remember, as we're switching to the next slide, they do drive on the other side of the road. So just be aware of that. You're looking at some photos of our CIE motor coaches. These are all state of the art. We own all of our own fleet of motor coaches, and they are truly magnificent. They've got all the bells and whistles, including complimentary Wi-Fi on board in case you need to stay in touch with your family or with work while you're traveling with us. And besides our wonderful guides, and you're looking at one of our Scottish guides, he's in his kilt down at the lower right. And to the left is one of our Ireland drivers. If you look straight up to the lady with the red jacket on, this is another enhancement that we have on our tours, which is our local guides. These ladies and gentlemen live in major cities that we will be visiting, like London or Edinburgh or Dublin. And they come to our hotel where we're staying at, and they will take guests on a walking tour of their city. And this is really nice because these people were born and raised there, they live there, they have a wealth of knowledge about their city, about the history and everything else that pertains to it. So you get to learn a lot. It gives you a different perspective besides just the perspective of your guide that's with you the whole trip. So again, we have our regular guides, we have our local guides on our guided vacation tours for you. And if you look at that seating configuration, you'll note that we're going to be doing social distancing on the motor coaches. Thank you, Keith, for going back there. So from what I understand, every other seat row will be vacant so that we can provide the social distancing that we need. And by the way, you're looking at a picture on the left-hand side of Skellig Michael. If you come with us on our CIE tours to Ireland and you choose one that goes along the Wild Atlantic Way, most likely you'll have the chance to see the Skellig Michael Island off the coast on the Atlantic Ocean side. Skellig Michael has a very rich history to it, and those of you who are fans of Star Wars have probably seen Skellig Michael in the last two movies that were made. They were filmed, part of them were filmed on Skellig Michael. This is an area where very pious monks fled to hundreds of years ago to be away from the mainstream population because their religion felt that if they were in a remote location, very, very high up, they would be closer to heaven and therefore closer to God. So they braved the waters and they took water and food supplies out there to stay for long periods of time. They built their little stone caves. They built the steps that go up to the top of that mountain to pray. We don't go there physically. It's a little too dangerous to be able to take people out on a boat there, but there's a fabulous visitor center that's on the mainland right across from it. And we would be going to that if you're on one of our tours that goes along the Wild Atlantic Way. So that's Skellig Michael. And then we can go on to our next slide. I want to just make a note about our documentation. I know that in this day and age, everybody is going either to paper or just the phone will have all of your documentation on it. We still believe in proper documentation. So if you are on a CIE tour with us, each one of you will be getting that backpack. And in the backpack, we put all of your documents, including some items that I think you need for travel. You've got that adapter set, which is wonderful. So you don't have to worry about bringing one from home. You've got a little rain poncho that clips onto it because sometimes it does rain in our destinations and we want you to be very, very warm and very dry. And then you've got all of your documents, your books, your luggage strap and your luggage tags in there. So everybody gets that really nice day pack when they're traveling with us. And you're looking at a slide on the left-hand side of Dark Hedges. Dark Hedges is in Northern Ireland, and it is a place that we absolutely go to if you're traveling on one of our tours that goes into Northern Ireland. Again, this was a film site. It may be recognizable to some of you. Dark Hedges was in Game of Thrones. So we will move on to our next slide. We seem to have a lot of movies that are being filmed in Ireland and in Scotland now. One other one, I don't know if you've seen Derry Girls, D-E-R-R-Y. Derry Girls is filmed in Northern Ireland in the town and around the town of Derry. And it's absolutely charming. It's on Netflix. I believe that's the only place it's on right now. But if you do have a subscription to Netflix, check out Dairy Girls. I think you're going to really, really like it. I wanted to show you a couple of our tours, just to sample so you can get an idea of what our guided vacations are like. This particular one is one in Ireland. We call it the Ireland South Day Tripper. It's an unpack once tour. So you would arrive into Dublin, transfer to Adair, and then you stay there for your 5 nights, and we do day tours out of Adair to different places of interest in the south part of Ireland. A nice thing to note about this one is that it is an unpack once program. The other thing is that Adair is always voted one of the most beautiful villages in Ireland every single year. It's the home of all these gorgeous little thatched cottages. The hotel that we use on this program is the Dunraven Arms. It's a 17th century hotel that's absolutely magnificent. So when you're done touring at the end of the day, you can literally walk down the street, you're right in Adair, you can go to a pub, listen to some music, you can go shopping. This is a really great tour. So keep that one in mind, and then we'll move on, and I'll show you some of the sites that you'll be seeing. This is the Dingle Peninsula. Its sister area is the Ring of Kerry. That's that whole stretch of southern Ireland that you see on the little map with the red dot. That's where you would be. So the Dingle Peninsula is included in a number of our tours, including the one I just showed you, the Ireland South Day Tripper. We take our time doing this during the day so you can enjoy the scenery. You'll note that no freeways, no high rises, just miles and miles of glorious scenery to enjoy. And then we'll move on to our next slide, which I believe is Blarney Castle. And again, in many of our tours that go, in fact, almost all of our tours that go to the south part of Ireland, you'd be visiting Blarney Castle. I know you've all heard of that because that's where you have the opportunity to kiss the stone and to be able to get the gift of eloquence that the Irish people have. And it's not just a really cool place to go just as a bucket list item, but the grounds surrounding Blarney Castle are magnificent. And we spend some time there so you can tour the grounds and see this castle, which really was a working castle, lived in castle hundreds of years ago, and of course is in ruins, as you can see now. But this is definitely a bucket list item, so make sure you pick one of our tours that gets you to Blarney Castle. And we'll move on now to the next slide. Another wonderful iconic site that you'll see on most of our tours with CIE is the Cliffs of Moher. And again, this is a site where you see no houses, you see no freeways. This is a 700-foot drop from the top to the bottom. There's a lone abandoned castle at the very tippy end, and it's just a lovely place to go and walk and enjoy the scenery. And they've got a great visitor center. It tells you about the history of the Cliffs of Moher. We go there for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours on most of our tours, so people can enjoy that area and just walk along there and just see the gorgeous views from the edge down to the water. So Cliffs of Moher, you'll see that on many of our CIE tours. Just switching gears here, if you decide to go with us to England, we do have a great program called the London Day Tripper. And again, this is like the other one I talked to you about. It's an unpack once, 5 nights in London, and we do day tours out of London. This is a great tour because you can add this on to anything else. Let's just say that you're going to be, you're on a cruise, a Northern European cruise, and you're going to be going in or out of London. You could add this on pre or post to your cruise. Keith would be happy to do that for you. You could add this on to a trip, maybe a trip on the continent of Europe. You could just come over, add in a couple of theater tickets on this one, and you've got a really cool vacation. So keep the London Day Tripper in mind, and I'm going to show you in the next couple of slides some of the sites that you get to see. And remember, all these places that we go to outside of London or outside of Adair, they're no more than a 90-minute drive. So there's not going to be hours and hours of driving for you. We will definitely do a London city tour so that you can see all of the main must-see attractions there. And then if we go on, we'll show you some more. We go out to Stonehenge, which is absolutely magnificent. In fact, I was just watching a PBS special on this apparently there's a real battle going on right now. I think it's the M1 goes right by Stonehenge, like really close, the freeway. And what they want to do is they want to build a tunnel underneath it to allow the traffic to go underneath the Stonehenge, and then eliminate the noise and eliminate all the traffic. And there's a continuing battle going on about whether they should do that or not. We do go to Stonehenge, and I think you'll find that fascinating when we go there. And that's one of the trips we do off from the London Day Tripper. And then we will move on to our next slide, and we go to Bath. Bath is just not only just a beautiful little city, but it's also got a lot of history to it. This is where you will get to visit the site of the Roman baths that are still in existence there, minus some of the water. And it's really fascinating to go from room to room and see the different areas of this. And you will have your guide that takes you through this. So that's one of the options too. One of the tours that you would have on our London Day Tripper. So you see, you're busy with us almost every single day, but not to the point of sheer exhaustion. We want you to be able to enjoy your vacation. And remember, on these programs, the stay put ones, you come back to your hotel at night and you can do what you'd like to during the evening. I wanted to show you one of our Scotland itineraries really quickly. This is the Scottish Isles and Glens. It's truly one of my favorite tours. I try to get on this tour every year in August. I can never get on because it's sold out. It is a very comprehensive tour of Scotland, and it includes some sites that a lot of tourists never get to, which would be the Isle of Skye, which you see over on the left-hand side, and also all the way up north to the Orkney Islands. So you got not just get the regular great places like Edinburgh and Glasgow, but you go straight up north to go off the beaten track on this tour, and it's 12 days. And you can see all the wonderful inclusions that we have. I'm going to show you some, as we move on to the next slides, I'll show you some pictures of some of the things that you'll get to experience with us. You'd definitely get to go to Skara Brae, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. That's on the Orkney Islands. This is a Neolithic site that they discovered. And it is a series of different compartments where people lived, where there was a little town. And it is just really fascinating to see something like this on the Orkney Islands from way back when. And Skara Brae is actually older than the pyramids. It's just really quite amazing. Again, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So on this particular tour, you get to go to this, to Skara Brae. And then we'll take a look at the Urquhart Castle. This is a fun experience. I've actually gotten to go to Urquhart Castle. As you can see, it's totally abandoned, but it was taken over by the government, and it is now a museum of sorts. It's a national site, and we get to visit here. You can take your time going through all different areas of the castle and its outbuildings, and seeing what the kitchens used to look like, what the Great Hall used to look like, what it was like to be in a castle. And notice that that castle is built right over the Loch Ness because they wanted to have a good view of potential enemies that might be coming up there to attack them. It's really quite fun to go and walk through there. But then after we're done, we take you down to the actual lake itself, and we'll go on a 90-minute boat ride on Loch Ness looking for Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. And they serve drams of whiskey on board. And so if you have a couple of drams of whiskey, enjoying the view, I think that probably increases your chances of seeing Nessie on your little 90-minute cruise. So Urquhart Castle, another one. And then this is the reason why I can never get on our tour. And it's because of the military tattoo, which takes place every August in Edinburgh. This started out many, many years ago as a performance of military bands, and it has expanded over the years into, as you can see, quite an extravaganza. It is performed in the month of August every single year in Edinburgh, and different bands, not just military bands, but performance bands come each evening, and they do perform in front of crowds like you see. CIE Tours has first class seats, so you're going to have a great view from your seats of all the different performers that do this. And at night, after it's finished, they blow off the fireworks. It's just really a once in a lifetime opportunity. Sadly, it's only once a year in August, and it sells out constantly. And by the way, it will be operating this year in August with social distancing. So we do have tours that are available for it in the month of August. So that's the military tattoo, and that's part of our Scottish Isles and Glens. And then moving on to Iceland, we added Iceland in 3 years ago simply because we had so much interest from our past guests in adding in some appropriate destinations besides our legacy destinations. We picked Iceland first because there's a strong Celtic history between Ireland and the UK and Iceland. The Vikings sailed all throughout and settled all throughout these areas. So you've got a lot of Celtic people that are in Iceland. This is the tour that we have. It's a guided vacation that's modeled after all of our other tours that we have, which means the guides are local to the destination. You've got 2 meals a day included. All the sightseeing is included. And you may or may not know this, but Iceland is a very expensive place to go and visit. So you want to be able to do is package as much in ahead of time before you go, because it's just very, very pricey to go and visit Iceland. And you'll be shocked at how good our prices are for this. It's a 6-day program. We've got 10 meals and we stay in really great hotels. 4-star, the Foss hotels in Reykjavik, and then the Foss properties that are outlined. And we'll move on to our next slide. And I'll just show you very, very quickly some of the beautiful sights that you're seeing. The Sheldon Foss waterfall is one of them, and we can actually walk almost up to where the water is actually falling. It's really cool. And that's one of the sites. And I think the next one that we'll see that's on this tour is the Blue Lagoon. We have a secret lagoon that we go to on this trip. It's very small. It's lots of fun and people love it, but we kind of wait until the last day to do the Blue Lagoon, which I know you've all heard of. And we have our farewell dinner at their fabulous restaurant. So you have dinner first and then you can enjoy the lagoon in the evening. When I love it. I've been there a couple of times now, and definitely the evening is just the most amazing experience. So Blue Lagoon will be included in your tour. We've got Italy. We're going to wrap this up really soon. We'll kind of fly through these slides here. Italy, Venice, Rome, and Florence. And you can add on Sorrento if you would like to. And I think we can keep moving on. It's just some of the sites. Keith, you can just keep moving on the slides if you'd like to. There we go. So you will do Venice, Florence, and Rome. Remember, all your sightseeing is included on our tours. Just very quickly, I wanted to tell you about our safety precautions. We've already put our plan into place so that when we can come back to our destinations, we'll make sure that it's safe for you, that it's an enjoyable experience for you. So we have worked with our hotel partners and our sightseeing partners to put all those protocols in place for you. So I think we are just about done. Yes, we are. Thank you so much for joining me today on our whirlwind trip for our destinations throughout Northern Europe. And do we have time for some questions, Keith?
Absolutely, Bonnie. In fact, first question that's come in is, I know recently there's been some volcanic activity in Iceland, and one of our guests was asking if that has disrupted the tourism there.
No, not at all. First of all, Iceland's not opened up just yet. They're opening up now for tourism. We've gotten some photos of one of our guides and his wife actually standing in the distance in front of that erupting volcano, but no, it has not. We don't plan on, unless something gets very, very bad, we don't plan on having any problems with that.
So I have a couple of questions that I frequently get asked, and I just would be interested in your take on it. Having taken my children to a tour of Ireland and England and Scotland many years ago. Do you recommend this vacation or your tours for families?
Absolutely. We definitely are welcoming destinations for families with children. There's a lot of activities for kids. And also we can do a private driver program, customize it for families so that we make sure that there are kid-friendly activities that are included in that for them. We take children ages 12 and above on our guided vacations. But if you have families with younger children, either a self-drive program in Ireland or maybe a private driver in one of our other destinations might be the way to go. But yes, absolutely, we can craft something definitely for families with kids.
Thank you. With all of the wonderful tours that you offer, is there one that you recommend for a first-time traveler?
Oh gosh, you know, you just have to go with what your heart tells you you want to see. You know, Ireland, you have a lot of choice, and it is a very welcoming destination for Americans because there are so many Irish descendants here in the United States. The south part of Ireland is always a favorite of people. However, Scotland is on the radar. Everybody's interested in Scotland now, and I love Scotland. It's so beautiful. And I think it's just because of all of the great press it's been getting from the movies and the TV shows that have been being filmed there. Iceland, if that's on your bucket list, gosh, you gotta go there. And then who can't resist Italy? I can't tell you which one to go to first. I just know that we would love to have you come on any one of our tours. And I know that you, Keith, can help them make that selection.
Bonnie, the other question that I get on a regular basis is, and I know this year is an exception, but in a typical year, is there a time of year that you would recommend visiting each of these destinations?
Typically, the summer months have been the most popular months: June, July, August, early September. And people like that sometimes because they have children that were in school and they had the time off during the summer so they could travel with them then. Some people perceive that the weather is better in the summertime. That can be true. It doesn't have to be true. You know, I would stay away from times that are winter times, like December, January, February, March. Any other time after that is wonderful. If you go off season, if you go in April and May, if you go September, October, even into early November, you got the place much more so to yourself because most tourists don't go then. They go in the summer months. In Ireland and Scotland, I've been there in September and October, and it's brilliant. It's just gorgeous weather. So, you know, go when you can, but if you want, there's never ideal weather because, as I mentioned, we give you that rain poncho for a reason. It, you know, it can sprinkle. It's green because it rains, but just stay away from the winter months and you'll be fine. With weather most likely, but you know, be prepared. You're going to have to do layering of your clothing. You're going for the history, you're going for the culture, you're going for the great food, for the pints of Guinness or the whiskey. You're not going to go for, you know, it's not a sunbathing trip. Let's put it that way.
Last question I just wanted to throw out there is one of my recollections from my travels there is there are far more castles than I could have ever imagined. Do you have a favorite castle to visit?
Yes, I do have a favorite castle. The favorite castle I have is, it's in the Inverness area in Scotland. So we do go to it on our Scotland programs. It's Glamis Castle. It's spelled Glamis. It is the ancestral home of the Queen Mother. That was, I think she's passed now, yes. It's Queen Elizabeth's mother. The mother that was the wife of Bertie, the one who had the stuttering problem. Remember, his brother David abdicated to Mary Wallace Simpson. He took over the throne. So his wife was born at the castle. She was raised at the castle. And in fact, when they got married before he was king, they would go as a family with Elizabeth and Margaret, their two daughters, and they would stay at the castle. So it was their home. And Princess Margaret was actually born at the castle. When you go into the castle, it's a castle, but it's a home too. So you get to see their family pictures. It's really quite delightful. And it's probably one of the #1 tourist spots now in Scotland. So that's my favorite castle, just because it has a real human touch to it. And you can see the history to it, the recent history to it. So that's my most favorite one.
My personal feedback would be that if you take younger children, they seem to be attracted to the castles with the biggest dungeons in them.
That's probably true.
I would invite everyone, if you are interested, you should now be able to unmute and ask your questions directly. I'll give everyone just a chance to do that if you're interested. Otherwise, we have people appear to have stayed with us long enough to let me pose one more question to them. So let me, if I can get this to pull up properly. Let's see, we ought to be able to. Here we go. I am optimistic that one of these days the pandemic is truly going to come to an end. And my question is, when it does, what are you most looking forward to? And I'll give you about another 10 seconds to cast your votes. I'd encourage each of you to participate if you would be so kind. Interesting. All right. We've got a split decision here. So hopefully you can all see this. We're equally split between an active adventure and a group vacation with family and friends. Well, Bonnie, for this group, I'm not surprised because, as you pointed out, the UK is not known for its beaches. That's not where you go for a suntan. Although you can in Italy, certainly.
That's true.
If you do have a follow-up question, please don't hesitate. Give me a call. My number is on the screen, or you could certainly contact me. It's just kwalter@dreamvacations.com, and I will get back to you within 24 hours with an answer if I possibly can. And then for those of you who have been kind enough to stick with us through this, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. I've tried to narrow it down to the folks who have managed to stay with us to the end. And Tina, it looks like you are going to be getting a $100 gift certificate to use for travel anywhere that you would like to go. So if you would either hang on when this presentation ends so that I can get contact information to send you the certificate, I would appreciate that. Or if you can't hang on, shoot me an email with a mailing address so that I can send that to you. And at this point in time, I'd again like to thank Bonnie for joining us today. A beautiful presentation. I think CIE is absolutely the way to go if you're going to plan to tour Ireland. They have an almost 100-year heritage there, and an outstanding reputation. And I hope that all of you will be kind enough to follow up if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks, everybody.
Bye now. And again, Tina, if you would hang on just a moment. Tina, are you able to, oh, there you are. Would you like to share with me your address now, or would you like to email it to me?
Actually, I'm living in Germany, so I'm not too sure if it would
Well,
make sense.
I'm delighted that you're living in Germany. Would you be okay if I sent you an email certificate rather than mail it to you, since I'm not confident the mail will get there anytime soon?
Maybe, yeah, sure.
All right. So, Tina, is the email address that you registered with a good one for me to contact you on?
It is. It's the gmx.de one, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes, that's the correct one. Thank you.
Okay. So I will send you an email version, actually a scanned version of the certificate. It'll apply the same way that when you're ready to travel, just let me know and I will apply it as if it were cash.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
If you don't mind my asking, how did you hear about today's presentation?
Actually, it was my friend Nana who was also on the session who registered me. And so I think she was just like also going through the Eventim page, probably.
Excellent.
So we are
And
both
did you
looking into traveling to Ireland.
get the information you were looking for today?
Yes, so I think we got some nice pictures and reads there. So, and I think we are even more excited about like especially going to Ireland now.
Excellent. Well, by all means, if I can help you, I hope you will give me a chance.
I definitely will let you know.
All right. Thank you again, and I will get that certificate off to you later this afternoon.
Thanks so much, Keith, and thanks so much for hosting the presentation. It was
My
really
pleasure.
interesting.
All right. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.